Yeah, like it sounds odd, but genuinely, I would put this above Millionaire, just for the pure fact that on Millionaire I was all on my own, and you know it was obviously lovely to win that amount of money, but to do it with some great people and great teammates just made it all that sweeter because then we could go and celebrate together afterwards. So, and yeah, it was fantastic.
Going into it, I really wanted, you know, our goal was to basically score as many points as we could because we didn't know, you know, because we've all seen plenty of times on University Challenge where you have these like storming comebacks and it's too late to do anything. So our goal was just to let's get through as many questions as we can, get as many points as we can. But my other goal was I want everybody to get at least one buzz, like, and that felt really good, you know. When Jamie got her the buzz that she got, she was the last one for us to buzz. It was like like such a proud moment for me.
Yeah, so I mean, it was all during lockdown. It was filmed, so we didn't meet in person until the day of the recording, but we'd met like once or twice a week on Zoom doing regular practices. We'd done, none of us had done any kind of quiz bowl stuff before. We got together for University Challenge, and then we entered some quiz bowl tournaments and did that as well. And I think, yeah, hopefully that really showed we'd practiced a lot of buzzer quizzes, testing each other on the buzzer reactions and stuff, and
and John, I'm really grateful actually to John for finding the quiz bowl kind of community because I wasn't as aware of it, and I think that I would have been felt far less prepared for being on the show if I hadn't done some actual competition beforehand. Because you can practice on your own, you know, with the team, and it's all well and good, but if it doesn't feel like there's anything at stake, then I can imagine the nerves would have got to me even more than I was feeling them already.
And actually, just a shout out to Bristol. I know that Sam put a comment in earlier because we did some sort of practice matches against some of the other teams. So Bristol, one team who we did like a kind of practice meet up on Zoom with and did some quizzing with them. So thanks to those guys.
We did a couple of them actually with Bristol, and each of us won once. So we need a rematch sometimes.
Well, I mean, who knows what's going to happen later in the series? Well, obviously you know what's going to happen later in the series. We don't know.
I felt, I mean, my very first buzz was on William Holman Hunt, and I just saw another message that I just happened to see was someone saying, "Oh, I would have beat you to William Holman Hunt," and I was just like, "Well, I'm sure you would have done, but I would have beat me to William Holman Hunt because I knew it as soon as he started reading it." But the funny thing is, I had just been looking at the painting, The Scapegoat, the day before, and when he said that name, I was like, "This literally can't be it," because it would just be, it's just too. And that's what was going through my head at the time. And then finally I was like, well, it seems to be. But yeah, I was proud of that one. But I was also really proud of the Spanish one because on the trip up, I was talking with my teammates about how I do speak a number of languages, but Spanish isn't one of them, which is weird because I come from Texas where most people speak Spanish. But I was saying to them, I can read Spanish though. And I'm glad that that turned out to be true.
But when we came out of the studio, and even though we did amazingly, the one thing in my head that stuck was that I didn't get Tunguska for the, bit about the Russian explosion. Even though as he was reading the question, in my head I was thinking Tunguska, Tunguska, and then for some reason I buzzed in and said something different. So yeah, that was the one thing that stuck with me.
And for me, you know, getting the film adaptation of Macbeth, not getting that one was really frustrating to me. And I've just barely looked at my phone, and I have so many people from my Shakespeare life being like, we were screaming at the television. But it was weird because I kind of had, like, I did say it in the conferencing, but like we had already had a Macbeth as an answer, and it just didn't seem like it would be appropriate for that to be an answer twice in the same program. So that's why I sort of dismissed it. But yeah, I am kind of kicking myself. And that, and not getting I May Destroy You, because it's like obviously so famous now. But to be fair, at the time, it really had only like recently come out. So it wasn't as like in the air as it is these days.
And has John forgiven you for denying him a shot at the musicals?
You know what? He forgave me immediately because we buzzed at the same time. I just barely beat him, and I turned to him and I said sorry, and he was like, I thought it was Chicago too.
Well, I think we both recognized it as being like Kander and Ebb, and then both of us just had obviously a mental mind blank. But yeah, it's frustrating because I'd been saying beforehand that my dream music round would have been musicals, and sadly we were denied the opportunity. But yeah, never mind.
Well, there was a funny moment actually where, you know, the producers are sort of like, oh, you know, if you have any issues, like if you need anything, just put your hand up in the air. Yeah, Jeremy might not notice, but somebody will. And just before we started filming, I was like, oh my God, my bladder, like I need the loo. And so I put my hand in the air and I'm looking around and everybody's kind of like running around doing things, getting the set ready. I'm like looking around for somebody. And all of a sudden I hear Jeremy Paxman's voice. Do you need anything, Mr. Bartel? So it's the exact opposite of what they said was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they had a really difficult kind of preparation for the show because I mean they didn't mention it on the screen, but their captain dropped out or for whatever reason couldn't play, and they found out the day before the filming. So the person who was filling in for the on the show that you saw was actually, you know, wasn't due to be the captain, and one of the other team members would have just been the reserve, and then she stepped up to play in the actual team. So they had a really kind of disruptive 24 hours leading up to it. So it's kind of not surprising in a way that they weren't quite on top form, I don't think. But yeah, I mean, they were all genuinely friendly. And when we saw them afterwards briefly, they were saying that they were going to be cheering us on for the rest of the series. And yeah, they were all genuinely really nice people.
Yeah, they were really lovely. And it is a shame because, you know, and it did seem as though kind of everything that could have gone wrong for them that day, like aside from, you know, regardless of what had happened in the studio, just went wrong. And it was really gutting, actually. We felt, I mean, there was a heaviness for me. I mean, I won't speak for everybody else, but there was certainly a heaviness for me of knowing that, you know, as competitive as I am, and as much as I wanted to win, as much as, you know, want to continue the show, like I do have a lot of empathy for people in sort of tough situations like that. And I don't want anybody to feel, anybody to feel bad. And, you know, just thinking about what I would feel in that situation, I just, I do feel, but they are really lovely people. And I do hope that they keep quizzing because, you know, there's some evidence, obviously, that they do know their stuff in a lot of ways, but it was just not a, you know, it's just not a great day for them. And but I hope they're enjoying themselves in whatever way they can right now.
And I think it was really rough because when they did manage to get in, some of the bonuses they had, I thought were some of the harder bonuses, like the picture round on the film picture round. To be honest, I wouldn't have got any of the ones, and they were quite unlucky because they said, I think, you know, my friend the courgette.
That was the one that I knew, and I'd seen it. And as soon as I heard them say courgette, I was like over there being like, oh, they're gonna get this one. And as soon as I heard them give the answer that they gave, and it wasn't the right one, I was just like, oh man, this is really rough. Like you couldn't have hit the post any harder on that one.
But what impressed me was Asri and Khan Wright kept going for stuff.
Yeah, they did.
Well, that's, I think we said afterwards that that's what they had to do because they had to take a risk because they weren't gonna, you know, accumulate loads of points just by sitting back and waiting, because then we might, you know, get in ahead of them. So they did exactly the right thing by trying to get in there, and you know, it's high risk, high reward, isn't it, on University Challenge? And unfortunately, for them, the risk didn't pay off. Yeah.
And so much of it has to do with just, obviously, as we all know, how the questions fall. And I think, you know, if they'd fallen a different way on a different day for them, they certainly would have been in there. Yeah, I was thinking that, as you know, we actually talked about that afterwards. Yeah. Like, oh, that was some pretty good synergy there. As a matter of fact, when we were watching Only Connect today, this is the first time we've ever like watched television together or like anything. We've done a lot of quizzing together now, but we're watching Only Connect, and the same thing was kind of happening where he would say something and I'd be like, oh, so I think that's maybe what we need to do next.
For me, it's not an individual buzz or an individual answer. It's just, as Michael mentioned before, the fact that each of us on the team managed to get at least one good buzz in. Because, yeah, as you said, Michael and I have, you know, more experienced quizzing, I guess, than Mark and Jamie. So we were very conscious of, not wanting to kind of dominate everything. So we're really pleased that the buzzers were spread around a little bit, and in the bonuses as well, Mark and Jamie both contributed as much as we did as well. So just the general teamwork and just the fun we had as well. Hopefully it came across on TV that we were genuinely really enjoying it and trying to have a bit of a laugh and a smile and a joke at the same time.
Definitely did.
I would agree. I completely echo everything that John just said. And I also, that is the thing for me. We were thrown together. We all auditioned via Zoom. The Guild of Students had this Zoom audition, and none of us knew each other. But I mean, John and I had met online a couple of times in Mimir, I think, mostly. But it became very clear very quickly that we had a really great group of people. In addition, not only Jamie and Mark, but also Rachel Humphreys, who's our reserve. Like all 5 of us, we just get on so well. And for me, the thing that I felt most, in addition to just like how proud I was of my teammates and how great they did, was I'm just so glad we get to continue doing this together as a group, like, because we just, and even, other people that would sort of, encounter us would be like, oh, this is really your only time you've ever met before. Like nobody believed that. They thought that we just, made so much sense that, and I'm really proud of that. And it feels, and that's a feeling that's, continued. And luckily we get to still do quiz bowls together and stuff. So that's been really great.